expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and cross its way under your skin. Just got found on the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to the Grounds with Giles and Jones. I'm Giles, and he's Jones.
I am Jones.
Yeah,
Nice.
a
Ooh,
fun
it's hot.
morning to talk about anything from peanut butter to, but no politics.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, just no politics. Of course, our show brought to you through our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center.
Yes.
And JH Events and Flowers.
Yeah. If you need a good massage or anything good like that, you need to get some tension and some stress relief, go see them.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give your wife some flowers, go see Jay or your husband flowers.
The most unique show here 21.6 the Net has to offer, of course, not just because Scott's here, but because Uncle Pete says you put that right in, copy that, put it in your URL, and you can be on the air with us live,
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
giving us your thoughts on, well, whatever comes over the airwaves.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
we're always talking just about a ton of things, and we
Yeah.
kind of come up with ideas for the shows and stuff like that. And today we'd kind of think we'd let it open to people if they had any ideas. I mean, obviously, like normal, we're just going to chit chat back and forth about what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just what two guys do in the morning.
Yeah. So I was out having coffee a little bit earlier with a group of guys, and we started talking about conspiracy theories.
Ooh, hot one.
So when does a conspiracy theory stop being a conspiracy theory, and do we celebrate it not being a conspiracy theory?
I don't know. Is that's what you guys were talking about
Yeah.
this morning? That's deep to wake up in the morning
Yeah.
and start talking.
It is.
I don't know. I think a conspiracy theory becomes real when it becomes real, so to speak, right? You think about it, you say, and
Yeah.
I think this, I think that, this might happen, but then it really does come to fruition. And it's like, oh shit, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's reality, right? I mean, conspiracy theories become reality when they
Yeah.
happen, unless I'm wrong.
So, with the Americas, the United States especially, there's the old saying, you can't, a good crisis, you need a good crisis or whatever, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
right?
that was in a movie.
Yeah.
Was it like Wag the Dog or
Could be
something?
Wag the
America
Dog,
needs a
yeah.
good crisis, or a good crisis bands everyone together, or something along those
about
lines.
that
If anyone knows that, please write in, let us know,
Yeah.
because that's something I'll probably remember at 8:33, and I'll be like, oh, I remember that. That's how my brain works. If you guys haven't
Yeah.
figured it out, if you tuned in long enough.
So let me just adjust that and crap. There.
Uh-oh.
That's
Let me cut you down here.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
Break check.
Hey.
Good morning, Don from Grapevine, Texas.
Yeah, about 3 months, Don says. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and reality? About 3 months. So we were talking about the space shuttle when it, and they were like, oh man, the kids were watching at school. I remember watching it at school. It was a big thing. And
You're talking Christy McAuliffe, the way back when. Okay,
Right.
okay.
When
What was that,
NASA
86?
When NASA stood for need another 7 astronauts.
I thought it was
Anyway.
need another $1 trillion.
That's and so they were like
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No disrespect. But I've never heard that. Need another 7 astronauts. Need another 7 assholes.
and they're like, they didn't die in the explosion. They died blunt force trauma when they hit the water. Right? A lot of people don't know that, but that is
what happened. They didn't die when okay.
And I just said if they were on the space shuttle, because there are people who look very, very much like those 7 astronauts that are around. So
yeah,
no bodies were found either, if you remember. I don't think.
I don't remember that if they were found or not, but
So
I have heard that statement quite a few times. And actually, my wife, by the way, happy birthday,
Yeah.
babe! If you're listening, it's her birthday today.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, and she's really good at. I guess the word I would say is that debunking some of these conspiracy theories and stuff. She's really intelligent with stuff, and she does pay a lot of attention. And she actually brought that up to me a few times, actually.
Yeah.
Now that you said that, going,
So I mean,
you know, that there's people out there that look like Christy McAuliffe and the other people,
similar names,
right?
Similar occupations,
same age,
same age.
Yeah.
You know, it's they were also talking about, of course, we just never forget 9/11, right? So
no,
9/11
and that just happens
this past week.
Yeah.
And you know, they're like, oh, I remember seeing the second plane hit the tower.
Right. Yeah, I watched that on TV, unfortunately.
And so I said, have you talked to anybody who is actually in New York on the street and saw it? Or are you just going from the quote unquote footage that was sent to
on TV?
Yeah.
That's a good one, because the only way I know it happened was TV.
Nobody really saw the first one. We have film from cameras, right? That we see the first one. And again, we see an airplane come out of nowhere to hit. And then we see the second hit.
Right.
And of course, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me that the heavy steel of the plane would rip through the very, very thin steel of the towers.
Well, actually, the planes I don't even think are steel. I think a lot of those planes are aluminum.
Oh, wait a minute.
Right?
So you're saying an aluminum
plane destroyed steel. Well, you remember what they said was that actually the jet fuel was so hot and the burn was so hot it melted the girders, which in my mind doesn't make any sense either. Right?
Anywho, I'm just saying.
You're right. Incidentally, what brought this up? The conspiracy. Is there something else?
Well, I did.
You did.
They were talking.
They
were talking about, you know, how, you know, the mental thing of seeing the space shuttle blow up and whatnot, and you know, and then they didn't die till they hit the water. What a bad way to die. I said, if they were on there.
Right. Oh, okay. So, right.
I don't.
Right. They didn't hit the eject button.
I don't. I'm just saying.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always a question. We'll never really know. And that's why, for me as a person, diving into some of these conspiracy theories and stuff, I understand the desire to, I guess, get to the bottom of it, so to speak. But a lot of times I look at it and go, what difference is it going to make for me? And is it worth, you know, my time to dig into it? Because I can't change it. And if it is a bad thing, like it was kind of what you're going at, you know, conspiracy, and it was happening. Wow. Do I even want to really know? Or do I just want to live ignorantly and happily throughout life if I can't change it? You know, some things I'm like that, other things I'm not, but there's things like that I can't prove or disprove. So it's kind of like, I'll step them to the side for a little bit until like you bring it up again. And so now that's going to be a little bit on my mind today.
You know, the need for conspiracy theory is something happens that we can't believe, right? And when we can't believe it, what happens? When we can't believe it, then we start looking for answers. We need answers. And so we start looking for answers, and that's where somebody throws out conspiracy theory. Now, conspiracy theory, right, is only about a 60-year-old term.
I was going to say, what is the definition?
And it was first introduced to us from the New York Times after JFK was shot.
Okay.
It was 3 days after JFK was shot where the term conspiracy theory comes out. And so now we have conspiracy theories on everything.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and it's
Bob, good morning.
Titanium.
Good to have you with us. Most aircraft are made from titanium, steel, aluminum, and composites, after including polymers and carbon fiber. Again, which I think are all materials that can slice through iron girders.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, I don't. And, right. If you look at things literally,
so if I take my titanium driver
right
up to a building being built downtown Chicago right now, a high rise.
You'll scratch it.
And if I take that titanium driver and give it a good whack, I'm going right through that steel girder.
Yeah, no. And that's where, you know, you can think, because that doesn't
Mm.
make sense that something like that would actually happen.
Yeah. Hey, Tony the Kid, how are you? Speaking of conspiracy theories, is it just me, or does Mexico's alien look like E.T.? Maybe it's me. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Let's
Is
look
there, I was going to say, let's look it up. We haven't seen it. Is this something new that just came out, Tony? Because I haven't seen anything
I haven't
on
heard
that.
about the Mexican alien. Let me
And
I'm going to Google it.
is that something that's on regular mainstream TV, or is that something that you get? I couldn't speak this morning, through the internet or one of your contacts out there? Oh, he's
2
pulling it up right
alien
now.
corpses to the Mexican Congress. Yeah, that's very ET-ish.
Oh, it's totally ET. It looks like it's coming out of the sand too.
It's kind of ET Yoda.
Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was thinking more Yoda. That's weird. So this is something that just hit the lines, huh?
So the question then I would say is that a conspiracy, or did somebody? I mean, Hollywood is known to let things escape, right? Don says it looks like a sand sculpture. It really does kind of look like a sand sculpture. That's
a heck of a I'll tell you what, in my mind, that's a heck of a diversion to get the American people to pay attention to something other than what's really going on out there today.
I mean, it's got a human nose, right? So this is true. The shape of the head, it's got a very human nose. So there are cultures in South America, Central America, who, when the baby was born, would put on like a very tight headband to form the head that way.
Right. That looks to
form the head.
That's totally.
We in America still will put on helmets and whatnot to help form humans.
Almost looks
human skulls. But that could just, to me, it looks like it could just be a human who they formed the head that way. They used to do that.
And actually, I looked at it a little bit closer. Obviously, the picture's not the hottest picture in the world, but to me, that actually just looks like a sculpture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, that looks like something made. Granted, I'm not a paleontologist or, anything like that. I'm just a normal mortal, but that doesn't look right to me. And my thing, when I see something like that, when you talk about conspiracy theories, my question goes, all right, what are they trying? What's going on that they want my attention pushed a different direction? Right? Like, is there what else am I supposed to be paying attention to that this comes out? Right.
Yeah.
And that's how I work. When I see something that's coming out like that, it goes, okay, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be looking at something different. What am I missing here?
I don't,
right.
And basically we've all kind of, now that the United States government has told us it's okay to believe in UFOs, that big deal now. Yeah.
Now that they finally come out and say, oh, they're here. We've known it the whole time.
No more conspiracy.
Yeah, no more conspiracy. Well, they're giving us that little nugget, right? Oh, we're right.
So
we're right.
Here's how
celebrate.
Here's how stupid human beings are. Why on God's green earth would we ever think that somebody would come here and go, I want to go research these idiots. They kill each other. You know what I mean? Very volatile world. Let's go see how stupid they are.
So so you hit it right, but I don't think they're coming here to research us or to learn from us. Far be it for me to ever say that we're not the only people on this in this world, right? I mean, you can go a million different ways with that one, but for me, if anything, we're a test site, right? Like, we're going to put these dumbasses on this blue marble and let's see how they kill themselves. Let's see what you shouldn't do, right? Let's see what not to do. Like, you learn from other people's mistakes. So my mind is that they're learning because they're a superhuman. I mean, the way they portray them in all the movies and stuff. I mean, I've never seen one, but for me, it's kind of like, ooh, okay, they're just trying to figure out what not to do.
Well,
kind of like what we go to school for. Don't do that. Do this.
Well, and we talk about climate change and whatnot, but nobody ever brings up the fact that people are testing nuclear bombs a mile down in the Earth's core.
They are.
We're going to talk about gasoline cars instead of testing nuclear missiles deep into the sea.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just laying it out there.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of different things we can talk about, especially, I mean,
know.
conspiracy theory. There's so many different things out there that you can just, realistically, you could almost turn everything going on in some way, shape, or form into a potential conspiracy theory. I mean, question is when do we stop worrying about the things we can't change or control?
Well, never. But I mean,
just live our lives as humans, right?
But
and try to be.
So is it a conspiracy if I say, hey, there's a cure for cancer, and I research and try to develop a cure for cancer? Is that a conspiracy?
Well,
no, that's a scientific process.
That's a scientific process. Yes, you're trying to
when
solve
anything
a problem.
happens that we're trying to solve, we're trying to gather facts and solve things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, that's where forensics has come in over the years. That's where now there are so many, don't touch anything. This is how this has to be gathered. This is how this has to be gathered.
Right. There's methodologies to everything and how they come to certain conclusions and stuff like that.
So I think the media came up with the term conspiracy theory to try to get people off of the trail of what really happened. Oh, you're crazy. You're a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Right.
I mean,
right. You're smart. You're on our trail.
Yeah.
Leave us alone.
In the 60s, people were making atomic bomb bunkers in their backyard. I mean, there was
they had it in the 80s because one of my friend's brothers did that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. There was an episode of Happy Days where Howard Cunningham also did that.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, we got the bomb shelter. Right.
And I laughed because when they were doing it, I'm like, so think about this one.
Hey, Lisa.
I put a bomb shelter in. Really? So what are you going to do when it's over and you're really kind of you and 10 other people, the only ones left in this world, right? Like, I'm going to live. Like, would you want to?
Right.
I mean, honestly, I don't know. I hope it never comes to that. But I had a friend whose brother did that. He was doing pretty well for himself, and he spent a shit ton of money to basically build a house underground. It wasn't just a shelter. It was, a couple room deal. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
So jet fuel, Robert says, doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel. But when the planes crashed into the World Trade Center on September, the fuel did burn hot enough to damage or alter the tower's steel structure, contributing to the World Trade Center's collapse. Correct. Also, all of the charges that were put up and down helped out as well. I mean, what I meant to say was allegedly. Allegedly. This is just, we're not trying to create a riff. We're not promoting any type of
it is interesting. It is, and it is interesting that you say that, right? Yeah, a couple guys' opinion, and most of us don't know really what we're talking about. But think about this one: if you ever watched Demolition, right, you see all the pops going up and down on the floors, and then you see it start to slowly fall in.
Mm-hmm.
That fell in for me way too freaking cleanly.
Yeah.
Because if you see when they do those demolitions, if they don't place one of their charges just right in one of the areas, and they don't weaken or actually slice that steel just right, the building stops falling.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen them do that? It's pretty crazy how one area that doesn't blow right. So for me, that's for me as a contractor, as somebody that builds things and knows, even though I don't build big structures like that, but I know the general idea. It brings up a lot of questions to you going, did that really happen? Right. And if it didn't, what was for me, then I'm going, why did they do such a horrific thing?
Right.
What is their plan behind it all? Just like, well, you can have your conspiracy theorists, about the 19 thing that we talk about from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go a million different ways to Sunday on that one. And, science will tell you one thing and thoughts will tell you something different. But are we getting the right science and the right information? That's the thing. Are you getting the right information to make valid judgments on these theories? Right. Because what you're getting told makes sense to you in this way, but what I'm getting told can be changed up differently just depending on your source. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a tough road to toe with.
So Tony the Kid says, didn't the government reveal they had $1 trillion or so go missing before 9/11? Did they ever find that money? Allegedly missing.
I like, what's this? Is it fairy
dust? You got to sprinkle the alleged.
Oh, I thought those fairy dust.
Allegedly.
Well, no, some people got new houses that week.
First of all, let's be honest. No, there isn't. I mean, it's all fiat money. There's no gold in Fort Knox anymore. We just keep printing money and we say that there's a value on it. It's anyway, that's another conspiracy.
Well,
right?
I mean, just think about just tear that statement apart. Didn't the government say they had $1 trillion or so that went missing? How do you miss $1 trillion?
It's a big stack of money.
Well, yeah, I
A
mean,
big
it's not
stack
like
of
it's not. Yeah, it's not like even $1 million that could be in a suitcase, briefcase or something
Yeah.
that you're going to pay, and it
I
disappears.
mean, 40,000 is a handful.
Yeah, 40,000 stacked in hundreds, about that big.
Not a handful.
Yeah, about a handful.
Yeah.
I mean, you worked at a bank long
Yeah.
enough, so you've seen it. So yeah.
So you take 40,000 into $1 trillion. There's a lot of handfuls.
$1 trillion, dude. It was
And the reason that I know it's 40,000 is a handful. I've worked.
we've worked in a bank for 20-something years, right?
Also, I just really love No Prep Kings, Street Outlaws.
I love that. All right.
No Prep
No
Kings.
Prep Kings, yeah. Street Outlaws.
And they
That's
win
been on for
40
years.
grand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been on for years.
Mhm.
We should do a 216 in the net car for that.
Oh, it'd be fun,
Wouldn't it? Right? Just spend like 60, 80, 100 grand on a car to
they
go
got
0 to
money in
200.
there.
Oh, dude, this
Man, do they got
that
money in there.
those so racers, those guys are some of the most passionate
Oh.
and diehard like hobbyists ever, because
it's crazy.
they put thousands of dollars into
Hundreds.
this shit. No, but
Hundreds
I'm
of
just saying
thousands.
thousands. Yeah, well, hundreds of
Hundreds of
thousands, but I mean they'll put
Yeah.
thousands and thousands
Yeah.
of dollars to get like 1/16th of a second
Oh, yeah.
game going down. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, what? Yeah,
Oh,
I just put 10 grand into a new belt drive or something. You know what I mean?
Gave it a hot tune. and
Gave it a hot
I
tune.
shook the tires about at the 330 mark. It was bad. I gotta figure that out.
But yeah, it's just so trying to lose $1 trillion. That just, to me,
Don
that
says
statement right there should.
67 miles if you stacked 1 trillion with $1 bills. So how do you wake up in the morning and go, I lost my 67-mile pile of money?
Right. Well,
You're like, what?
that's an easy thing
What?
to do.
Wait, what?
But and even if it
correction, 67,000 miles.
was okay, I was just gonna say that 67 miles doesn't seem like a lot.
We're
Maybe
going
in $100 bills, but even so, even if it was a ones and zero mistake, trust me, the government knows. You know what I mean? Where it's
it'd
going.
still be 600.
That
So-
couldn't have been misappropriated for some like new hammers and toilet seats or something.
Yeah, I don't
I mean, toilet seats are expensive these days. If you guys haven't looked,
Yeah.
they weren't that much back then. Back in 9/11, I mean, toilet seats were
Yeah.
pretty cheap.
Meanwhile, we keep parading geriatrics up on stage, saying you're a great leader. Anyway,
Did JB go up and
oh my
do some
God.
talking?
Somebody asked him a question. He goes, I think I'm going to go home and go to bed.
Dude, that's this is a kind of a
What just happened?
that type of shit is
That's
one
right.
reason that I'm so happy I don't have
Yeah.
like
More
regular
than a quarter
TV.
of a way to the moon.
But it just, some of that stuff I see that just makes me so nuts and so irritated, because it's like,
Yeah, the miscellaneous charges, I think.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's right.
But
that's why I'm just saying, to me, I don't fall into any conspiracy theory, because I don't believe that there are conspiracy theories. I think that there are inquisitive people. I'm very curious, right? So I got a key for the gym at the college, because I'm coaching the ladies basketball team there. And when they gave me the key, I just started walking around putting it indoors to see when it would open. And people are looking at me. I'm like, I don't know. Hey,
I thought I got the key to the city. It's only
I'm
the
putting
gym.
I'm putting it in every door. I'm like putting it in car doors. Like, no, I wasn't putting it in car doors.
Oh, Jesus.
But because everybody's got fobs now, nobody really. Anyway, but yeah, I was walking around that school sticking my key in every door. Like,
that sounds
hey,
like
does
something
this-
I tried to do in
does
high
this
school.
open? Yeah,
Right? Isn't that what
I got
guy,
access to.
isn't that what every guy tried to do in high school? Stick his key in every door?
Hey, you know what I'm talking about.
Change a couple letters around?
That's right. Yeah, the WH was silent. All right. JB said again, I will get in trouble if I answer any question. Yes, he did out loud. What are my directions? I will get in trouble if I answer any questions. And
Was this on last night?
Oh, this was this big. We are the laughing stock.
So in some ways, when you talk about that stuff, it makes me want to watch it just for the stupidity, but I also don't need to waste any more brain cells.
It's like we're living through a bad Saturday Night Live skit.
Dude,
literally.
That's funny, because we were talking about Saturday Night Live the other day, and I'm kind of like, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I just totally agree. It's just so weird. It's just like this, everything that's going on these days to me just seems so surreal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, are we really at that point?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Because we're all idiots.
Well,
And
I mean,
that's
we've
the
proven that.
bottom
I
line
mean,
is, the bottom line is Americans are pretty well idiots.
well, and that's what makes the American people the American people, right?
Hey, Jen
So
Crazy,
easily
good
changed
morning.
around.
Glad to have you
Hey,
with
good
us.
morning, Jen. I hope we got Mike back safe and sound for you. Didn't wear him out.
Yeah, he exerted himself. quite a
Oh, that's
bit.
what I'm saying. He exerted himself quite a bit. He got up and sat down
That's
a few times. We love you guys for sure.
Yeah.
So
his Fitbit was like, "Are you alive?"
yeah, his Fitbit kept ringing, going, "Wake up, wake up." Yeah.
Move.
Yeah. In case you guys aren't wondering, we are welcome ourselves back, actually, because that last week we were not on because we were at Man Camp.
Yeah.
Which we have our own conspiracy theories on.
Capuchin monkeys.
Yeah,
was big,
capuchin.
too.
White-faced capuchin
white-faced-
monkeys. And if you know,
We
I'm
found
the one
out.
that knows the most about them. If you ever
Yeah.
ask anybody.
One of 3 people in the world. Yeah, one of the most.
Hold on, Jude. Let me talk. Just wait. Just...
Right. One of the most vicious animals out there, the white face.
At least we've been told.
The capuchin monkey.
Yeah,
Top
we-
10. Top 10.
We have a friend up north who we go see every year, and he informed us this year that he is the capuchin monk, white-faced capuchin monkey guru.
Yeah.
Would you go with that? Drew is here, by the way. Good morning. Good morning.
Had it for 3, knew it for 5.
3, yeah, had it for 3, knew it for 5, dated it for 2, and then married it, and then got rid of it because he realized it was a problem. Yeah, no, he did not. He did no. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I like that. The sprinkle.
That thing.
Yeah,
I got up and looked at it.
I was pissed. I thought it would be days.
I thought it'd be dazed. It wasn't like it's a monkey. All right. Anyway,
So, like we said, guys, anything peanut butter to politics
That's
and monkeys.
squirrel.
It's squirrel. What?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, conspiracy theory, though. Honestly, I mean, isn't it? They're calling it conspiracy just because you're questioning it, you're trying to investigate it more, but because it doesn't make sense to people, is that why it's a conspiracy? Right? Because if something doesn't make sense to you, right? I mean, what do you look when you look at something and something doesn't make sense to you? Is it do you think conspiracy, like people are plotting against you, or you don't have the proper information?
No, better to just get in line and march with everybody else rather than to ask questions
No,
and step out of line.
pass.
And that's why the media pinned the term conspiracy theory
Because they wanted to oust
because
them.
at that point, up to that point, it was not televised. We don't remember seeing Abe Lincoln shot on television.
Right.
We do remember seeing John F. Kennedy.
Right.
We do remember seeing the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, I remember
Right.
watching that. Yep.
Yep.
Watching Brady go down.
So, when you start looking at the dominoes and how they're falling, that's when you start to ask questions like, wait a minute.
Right. So if something doesn't make sense,
That's interesting that the president and vice president were in the same general area.
right?
That never happens, right? Anyway.
So a conspiracy theory basically is something you don't understand that you think the results are not really what you think they're going to be, right?
or perhaps you have come very close to the truth, and that needs to be silenced.
Well, that's right. So, but would that be a conspiracy though? Because you're getting close to the truth. 9 times out of 10, allegedly, people that come close to things and solving things disappear or decide to take a hiatus.
Sometimes
Allegedly.
are found committed suicide, hung from a
Right.
tree.
Something's
and
always weird.
a shotgun blast to your chest, but you committed suicide.
Right. Something. Shotgun blast to your chest and you committed suicide.
There's also
Got some long arms.
There's also, you could take a look at the dealings of a certain family that was in power that they'll call a blood trail, whatever. I'm not suggesting that. Allegedly, right? And thank you for listening, Heather. Anyway, the idea is that there are those the things where a Nikolai Tesla might be another.
Yeah.
Right. A Nikolai Tesla had a lot of cool
There's
answers.
quite
and
a
things
few. There's
which,
quite a few that
you
just
know,
quite handedly have gone on vacation and not come home. Well, I mean, conspiracy theory. Think about, we talked about it, whatever, how long
Tupac.
it was. Tupac. Well, even here's the better one yet. So, and I don't remember how deep we got into it, but the whole submarine that disappeared.
Okay.
How long do you think it'll be before we start seeing people that look like them?
Oh no. Listen, they probably were able to shave their mustache, took their turban off.
Oh yeah, because I mean, honestly, when the first thing I heard that, remember the first thing when I heard that, I'm like, oh, they just wanted.
Do you remember seeing pictures of the people that were on there? No further questions. Right?
No, I did. Yeah, right. I did see pictures of what they supposedly look like. Yeah, allegedly. I did see pictures of what they're supposed to look like, but away, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And I looked at them. I go instantly. I'm like, "Wait, billionaire, millionaire, and some high-powered business tycoon. Like, want to disappear? Bye bye."
Yeah.
I mean, they got money somewhere. I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you as our listeners, would you not? I mean, life is difficult enough as just a regular middle-class individual, right? With all the stuff you got going on, all your issues, potential problems, enemies that we all have. Yeah. Think about if you have that much money. You don't piss people off or step on people's toes.
Yeah, Don says the family you mentioned, quote unquote. I feel bad for them and all of these suicides. Yeah, it's true that it's terrible. So we were up in northern Wisconsin, and we were on a river, and we had access to a couple of small fishing boats. And now I'm not a millionaire, but if I'm going out on the water, I'm looking to see how much water is in the boat, and does this thing float? Right?
Maybe and yes,
and
yes and maybe.
With that said, if I'm a tycoon, if I'm a multi-millionaire, you go and you kind of kick the tires. Like, can I see this vessel for sure?
I got that same controller on my PlayStation at home. Let's go.
I'm not even worried about the controller, but it seems that the tubular shape of this vessel and the flat plexiglass that you caulked in doesn't seem like it would handle the pressure of being that, right? But let's do it. Let's get it. I want to go down.
Because people that usually have been that successful don't investigate, and what's the word I'm trying to think of? Not even authenticate, do their due diligence, right? Yeah. Thank you. I mean, nowhere near that. And I research the hell out of things if I'm going to do it, right? Like when we did Angel's Landing a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I researched, I literally did to see just what's going on because I don't know. Yeah. And I like going into the unknown sometimes, but when it's that dangerous, I want to know.
Yeah.
What I'm really expecting.
We're going down under the water a couple miles on a Pinto.
Yeah. What thick? Yeah. What thick glass? I'd want to know how thick the glass. You know what I mean? Because of the pressure. What kind of? Because there's in water, it's called atmospheres. For every 10 feet, or it starts changing.
It's not like
your pressure just increases significantly.
We're going down on this sub that I bought at auction from the United States government. It's good.
We had it tested.
It's like, hey, we're going down in a bathtub that I created.
My mom had me tested. I'm good.
Right, let's go.
So in that one, the conspiracy theory, I think that's a simple, easy one to solve, right? You really couldn't even call it a conspiracy because it doesn't affect. Well, I guess it doesn't.
No bodies
were
found.
Right.
Bodies were found.
Well, it's convenient.
Yeah.
Because if that thing,
no bodies were found, and the hunt was like, oh no, we hear them knocking.
Yeah.
Well, that gave them time to get out of surgery.
Where's the meatloaf?
Get rid of any tapes that might be around showing it they did or did not get on that vessel.
Right? So yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. They're trying to do. I feel just me, not the station, nobody else. Yeah. I feel like they're trying to discourage through these things and these terminologies to discourage people from wanting to be curious.
Now there was
wanting to investigate something that somebody says, oh no, that's definitely what happened. But you're going, it doesn't make sense. Let me look at it. Oh no, you're a conspiracy theorist because you're not accepting my answer.
8 years ago, there was a lot of noise from a letter in the alphabet. This guy named Q, right? Remember this? QAnon, right? And this was an insider in Washington who was leaking all the,
I'm drawing a blank on
storylines, and then. That's when President Obama was in office. And then all of a sudden, when President Obama got out of office, this individual obviously kind of disappeared. And all of the inside tracks never really came true.
Okay.
Right.
One, like I said, I don't really have much knowledge on.
There are stories out there. There are people who create stories. There are people who throw things out there because there is a huge population who go, oh, I like it. Yeah, I'm going to follow that.
Just gives them something to do to keep their mind off other stuff.
Well, yeah. Or
well, I mean, a lot of people are just looking for something to follow behind.
What else are you going to do when you're sitting in your trailer? I mean,
or even sitting in your house.
Your trailer with your 17 cats. Just
how do we get to the trailer park girls? Because they go around the outside.
We go around the outside.
They go around the outside.
Somebody never told me about that song. I don't know what that means.
Well, you better look it up.
I don't.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Drew, anything over there? No, Drew doesn't know either. I have no idea. But just think about this: there's 2 trailer park girls, and there's a trailer park. There's a vessel of some sort, and they run around the outside and they wash it.
Oh.
Okay, that's all I've heard. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. They're making a movie on it, but I'm not sure what they're going to call it.
Isn't that an Eminem song?
It is an Eminem.
It is. It is.
Marshall
Very much so.
Marshall Mathers.
Marshall Mathers, yeah. And his name is Eminem, but it's spelled Emimmenen. So
very good, Ray man.
But you see how that just flowed out of my mouth? I don't know what I said.
92 toothpicks.
What movie was that where he starts just yeah. Well, you ever seen Old School?
Oh.
Where he does that the debate and he comes up and he was doing something on government or whatever it was, just and all of a sudden he's like he just lets down. I don't know where that came from, but you win. Thank you very much. I get that about once a month. I spit it out and
yeah, I don't, I gotta look.
Which one?
I gotta look up what you're talking about.
As far as the Old School,
yeah.
What were they doing? It was debating against some big dude. That's all he does on the news. But it was really funny because he went from being basically a blubbering idiot to just super eloquent and super intelligent. Laid out this whole extravagant answer, and then as he finished the answer, he just kind of like drops because he's so exhausted from using that much brain power, to try to figure things out. And I think a lot of people do that with this conspiracy shit. They're using so much brain power and they're focusing on shit, and then all of a sudden they're done. They finish. They don't know what's going on. Oh, James Carville. There you go. Thanks, Don. Appreciate that. Yeah, James Carville. He's a big financial guy, I believe. Raging Cajun. There we go. Don's all over it this morning. Kent's trying to find it over here on a video.
Yeah, I'm trying to read.
You can watch it after the show.
I'm trying to figure it out.
It'll crack you up. That was a good thing there. I really laughed at that. But
yeah, I don't. It doesn't really tell me.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, while he's looking, I'm gonna keep cooking.
Yeah, I don't get it.
He doesn't get the joke. That's all right. It's just he went from being very dumb to very intelligent, and then he shut back off.
Yeah, I don't.
So
I don't know.
Like the government.
Yeah.
Intelligent thoughts, and then they go back to being dumb. It's a light switch. Yeah. We want to do this. Yeah. There you go. The investment in Micronesia. Don must be watching the movie right now.
I'll tell you, there's a great Netflix series right now. It's called Live to 100 or something.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. The Centenarians. I just finished it. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really pretty cool.
And you see all the basic four groups that they all have in common that allows them to live to 100, which it all makes sense. But yeah, because it makes sense, nobody does it. Right. Very few people do it.
I'm going to live to 140. So
you're going to live to 140?
I tell people, like, my midlife crisis is coming when I'm 70.
Did you just start watching it?
I'm like
because I think there's only like 4 episodes.
Yeah, I'm like on the 3rd episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which what's funny? Well, I don't want to.
The guy who does it rode his bike around the world.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty crazy, right? Well, so obviously comes from a little bit of money to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But regardless, the guy does an amazing job with doing his research and going out and visiting these places. And they're actually trying to do these what they call blue zones in the United States. And they actually have one in Loma Linda, California.
Yeah, Loma Linda.
Mm-hmm. California. They have a blue zone. And if you're not aware for blue zone is the areas where basically these centenarians or people that are living up to 100 years or more, kind of, they live in these pockets.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of similarities and commonalities that are allowing these people to push their bodies and their minds and just to live, to be this age and actually function. You know, it's not like they're just a decrepit old 100-year-old sitting in a chair.
No.
Did you see the one? Did you get to the one yet where the old guy, I don't think he's 100 yet. I think he's like 98 riding the horse.
Yeah.
He looks like a freaking young man, right? And
he looks like he's about 65.
Yeah, and he gets on that thing and he rides that horse like no tomorrow. I'm like, there's no way this guy, because I think he's like 98 or 99. Yeah. He's not 100 yet, but he's so close. Yeah. And they're talking to him. It's like sharp as a tack. I mean, makes me feel like I'm already 100 years old because of how he was going through it, and that just shows what, environment, diet, and the four groups.
Just moving.
Right, keeping your body moving,
not working out.
Right,
not jumping on a bike and riding across the world.
Yeah, it's just movement during the day.
Just regular movement, gardening.
A lot of them do gardening because that's good for the movement. That's also walking
everywhere,
right?
Squatting.
But it's also the gardening is a mind time,
and a lot of community.
A lot of community. So having friends, having a place to go where you feel accepted, wanted, needed, eating right, exercising, and keeping your mind active through hobbies and activities. And actually one of the big ones was volunteering, helping others out, having a purpose of some sort. Having a purpose, right? And a lot of the people, their purpose is to helping other people. Kind of like, what we do here at the studio, right? We're trying, daily dose of encouragement, trying to get people to talk about the things. Yeah,
the way we help people is they go, I'm pretty normal.
I'm totally normal because those guys are complete idiots. And that's good because then we're getting our point across, right? We're making people understand. Right. You're making people understand that that's normal, right? These are the things we go through, but if you don't talk about it, you don't know it. There's a lot of people that sit inside their head all day long and won't talk about things because they feel they're the only ones that do that. And that's a lot of these centenarians. They get together and they talk about these issues and what's going on. So they don't have to.
There's a conspiracy theory that says, the reason that people have all these allergies and whatnot is because you're not out playing in the dirt and eating dirt and doing things all the time.
100%.
Right? No, it's just it's allegedly.
That's not even. I'm going to pick that up because that's not a conspiracy theory, dude. That's the truth.
No, it hasn't been proven. I'm just saying.
But I'm gonna. For me,
I'm just saying there happened to be a time in life where all of a sudden I couldn't eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the lunchroom anymore
because you didn't want those peanuts floating.
You know what I'm saying?
Or strawberries.
Who's allergic to strawberry?
Right. That's a big thing.
Really? I didn't know strawberries was a big one.
So all of a sudden, all of a sudden,
it's a change.
Somewhere.
It was a change in something. I don't know if it was the environment
after the
or
80s,
or
it became a thing.
There was like a table maybe that was like off in the distance, but back then it was don't eat peanuts.
Right.
Oh, see, I was a king. My mom made me great.
What'd they give you on the
peanut butter
airplane?
and jelly?
They gave you peanuts on the airplane.
Well, it's instead you go to school, you brought whatever you want.
You go on a plane, you get a big handful of peanuts.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's knowing that you were a sissy?
I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm allergic to peanuts.
I hope you are.
You're
You're a man camp. Thank God he's allergic. And what?
I'm not peanuts. Anyway,
I'm not allergic. I'm afraid of them.
But that's the allegedly, right? That's what a conspiracy theorist is all about. Is allegedly this is all of a sudden this came out of the blue, and it wasn't just in little Jimmy. It was in the entire 5th grade class. And you're like, wait a minute,
right? Well,
wait just a second.
Well, and I think the reason they made it sound because when you say the word conspiracy theory, it makes like that person's crazy. Oh, wait, what are you?
Of course.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Doesn't make any. What's wrong with you?
The term is to discredit.
Discredit. Yeah. What's wrong with you? Why do you not believe what we tell you?
But like Don said at the beginning of the show, the difference between truth and a conspiracy theorist is about 3 months, because when the facts start coming out now old crazy Tim's not quite so crazy,
right? Because he might have found the information or was smart enough to question it ahead of time.
Now again,
which some of those people are really in tune.
Running around with a tinfoil hat on.
I just put on a armadillo hat because then the brainwaves can't get to me.
Yeah, I mean you're still crazy at that point.
Because it's like a soup bowl too, but you put it on your head, it works pretty good.
I've never had an armadillo hat.
Doesn't get there.
I don't know about armadillo hats. That's not my bag.
That came out of the Dukes of Hazzard, in case you're wondering the reference on that one. Yeah, his buddy the armadillo. He wears an armadillo hat, so the brainwaves from the
I haven't
government.
watched
Can't
that
get to
show
'em.
since I found out it was racist.
Oh, it's racist?
Really?
Of course I know that.
Listen, Bo.
Yeah, listen, Bo.
yeah.
That was some of the greatest days. I mean, they brought in the frickin' Daisy Dukes. I mean, the greatest show ever. Is that
Really
racist?
really not an attractive woman either. She never really did anything. I was like, everybody's like, oh, Daisy Duke. I'm like,
Here, Drew's looking
nothing,
at you like, are you crazy?
nothing.
Well, I wouldn't kick her slippers up from underneath the bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not everyone's cup
You
of tea,
wouldn't
but
kick her out of
probably
kick her out of bed for eating crackers?
No.
What if Crackers was her dog?
oh my God.
I love that one. What if Crackers was her dog? Here, Crackers.
Come here, honey.
All right, never mind. Never mind.
That's hilarious.
Allegedly.
That's, yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Yeah, no, the lady never, nothing. I don't.
So where did you guys end up on your conversation then this morning? And did you?
Oh no,
poke the hell out of the bear with
one
them?
guy had to get to work. He goes, "Let's talk about this next round." It's fine. It's wonderful. I just, to me,
Were there more people there? The good, like
to me is I don't like taking things at face value, right? So even coming up through school and whatnot, I was the kid who pushed the teachers, pushed the button as far as I possibly could to question, to ask,
question everything,
to find out. No, not everything. I mean,
But
2 + 2 is 4. There's no question.
right,
that.
but you know what I mean. Not
Right.
necessarily everything, but the statement. Right, but you were one
Right.
that was very curious. You didn't take their answer, and you had to like prove it to yourself, type of thing.
Just
Just because you say it's true doesn't mean it's true. I got to make sure I can validate it
right.
in my own
My
head.
wisdom comes from me digging in, not from you telling me. Right.
Right.
You can listen. Somebody probably told me quantum theory at one point. I never learned it because I've never researched it. I've never gone deep into it. Like, hey, here's what I want to do. However, you can ask me about 17 different philosophies on basketball, and I can tell you all about them.
Well,
'cause I've researched it,
Right,
right?
you've
I've
researched
researched
it. Right.
So, there's things that this station and the shows on this station have done great for me because I've dug in, I've researched. I'm a curious person. So, I understand 2 + 2 is 4. I don't question that. But if you tell me 2 + 2 is 5, I'll dig in. Right. Let's figure that out. Right. So, if I feel that it's something that I don't know, there's something shady about that.
Your spidey
Right.
senses tingle.
Again, why has Christianity created a savior that is Caucasian with a Latino name that was born in the Middle East?
And he's got a surfer dude hairdo.
It's interesting.
It fits a lot of people.
It's interesting to me.
Fits a lot of people.
And so I've
Diversity.
I've researched a lot about things like that. So, I don't, how do you?
Well, how far? The
Right.
question is how far do you go to question things? For me, at least, is like I have to really look at them and go, how really important and how detrimental is this to me in my life, and is it going to change my life? How much I dig into it, you know what I mean? Just the things that really intrigue me, I will dig deeper into and try to gather more knowledge and hopefully be able to share that knowledge to people. Like with me in houses or cars, I dig into that stuff, research it, and I know it, and I'll share that with people,
Yeah.
Let them learn, and then they can question what I tell them when they start to do something.
Well, I think for a long time here in the Americas, we were happy being told things, right? And when we only were told things once or twice a day, okay, we said, oh, that person who's telling us that is very reputable. That's journalism.
Right.
Then when it became a 24-hour money-making profit
Gee.
center, we started going, wait a minute.
Right. Well, for
Look at the ratings we got following this white
right
Bronco
something right
for 2 hours.
right.
Look, everybody was glued in, right?
Right.
Look at the ratings we got when the space shuttle went kaplooey. We didn't question, but now that it's on every minute and it's very consuming, I think a lot of us go, wait a second, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, for me as a kid growing up, for lack of a better term, if an adult told me something, I kind of took it as gospel, right, up until a certain age. And then one day I kind of questioned what they were saying to me, right, going, that doesn't make sense. And it didn't make sense after I looked into it. And then it was kind of like, that's where I started developing that question everything concept in my head, because it's like, well, why would you tell that to me if it's not true? It doesn't make any sense. I need to figure it for myself, right? And that, for me, was a turning point in my life, because back then, if you were an adult, you were God kind of in a way to me, right? You knew everything, right? Oh, you've made it this far in life. Oh, you do this. Oh, hey, well, half of that shit's bullshit, or they're giving you their educated opinion, which sometimes was,
I remember
was nothing.
The term expert, Don says, is followed by the name Kent Johnson. Oh, wait, no, the term expert now makes me think not an expert, just a shell for someone. Yeah.
Well, it also depends on what you're considering an expert.
Well, here's the rabbit hole that I go down. There was a time in American history where people over the age of 30 talked about something other than politics. I can remember my grandparents sitting around with people playing cards, drinking, smoking indoors, and and talking about anything but politics.
Just life.
But now everything is so politicized. Why is that, right? There's not a give me a conversation that doesn't start because one side or the other of American government has said, oh, good, bad, and let's get people infighting, right?
It's difficult to find those these days. They're there, but I mean, even between friends, you guys, when we're chatting, I mean, somehow something always comes up that would be part of the government or what's going on, even though we're just talking about life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's, for lack of a better term, kind of sad, right? I mean, because you're not able to just be you. For some reason, something else has to be drugged into that conversation.
I mean, for years and years and years and years and years, centuries, right? I don't know. Anyway, decades. Anyway, we've known about unidentified flying objects and alien beings. And until 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, when the government came out and said, "Hey, yeah, you got us.
You're here."
Yeah. Now we all go, "Oh,
it's over." Yeah.
I guess it's true. You're not an idiot.
Yeah, the people that were the conspiracy theorists back then are see, and they're probably right anyway. I mean,
right.
The right
Peanutbutter conversations turn political these days. And it's just it's sad and it's alarming and it's dumb. And there was a time in American history where we focused more on our commonality and being an American than we did on our differences and trying not to be American.
So do you think? So I guess my question when that comes up is, do you think that because that's happening, that everyone's trying to be right, like because politics is basically right and wrong, right?
No, everybody's trying to worry about how you feel. I don't give a shit how you feel.
But that's how it brings politics into it.
Because you are on ADH medicine, I have to tiptoe around shit now. I don't. When we grew up, it's like, oh, he's tripping out. Oh, whatever.
Right.
Screw him.
Right.
Is he a good person or asshole? Good person? I like you. Asshole? Stay away from me.
Right.
And I don't care. We make fun of you right to your face.
Right. And
oh my gosh, it's so bad. Was it?
No, it wasn't. Especially if that person that you're making fun of knows that you're just poking at them, because that's what kids do. You know what I mean?
Sure, I was a dick to a lot of people.
Right. Me too. Me as well.
Huge.
So if anyone's listening, I apologize.
Huge dick. Right.
That was not the best version of me, but shit happens.
But
yeah.
But now we can't say, hey, what do you have? We're having shit on a shingle. What? You can't say that.
Why is it a shingle? What's up with roofers?
Yeah. I take offense.
Right. Everything in some way.
So everybody's not trying to be right. Everybody's trying to say, oh, you've hurt my feelings. Oh, you're right. That's what everybody's trying to do.
Right.
Right. I mean, there are people with serious mental illnesses, and there are psychologists and psychiatrists that are wonderful and do their job great. And but now we used to call, man, before a basketball game, I'd get nervous. Now it's anxiety. You got anxiety? Oh my God. Right? It's a normal, it's everybody does. It's normal. It's a normal human function. Right?
It is a normal human function.
Right?
It is a normal human function. Yeah, 100%. And everybody feels it, but there's the thing where it's like, for me, nobody talks about it. Right. So, yeah, you have anxiety before a game. Of course you do, because you're anxious as to what's going to happen. People have let that spill into their everyday lives because they don't know what's going to happen. And they're so worried about what hasn't happened that they're not even taking care of the present.
Right.
Of what's happening.
My dad's older brother, my uncle, had cerebral palsy. I mean, he was born in the 40s. He wasn't supposed to live till 10. He lived till he was 80.
Yeah.
So to me, I've grown up with a special needs person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
That was Uncle Brent. Brilliant, strong guy. Knew a lot about baseball. He was a brilliant guy. Right.
Yeah. Just because he got cerebral palsy doesn't mean he's not
so
smart.
So I grew up with a special needs person.
Right.
In my life, very close in my life. And to me, you're still, he's a good guy. He wasn't an asshole. He was a good guy.
He's just a human with a specific
so
disability. Or it could be
to me, I don't care what you are, but if you're going to tell me, here's what I'll just say: God doesn't make mistakes. Period. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. God doesn't make mistakes. But we in today's society tend to believe that God does, and then all of a sudden we start rolling with the minority instead of the majority. And never mind, anyway. But that's all I'm saying.
Never mind, anyway.
God doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all that I'll say, and that's how I'll say it. And I learned a lot from my uncle. Right?
Yeah, well, it's a totally different perspective.
Learned about adversity.
I'm sure he gave you a completely different perspective on life and how things are viewed, and that's what's important for me about talking to people, right? About keeping that information and talking to diverse individuals, right? Because you're looking at different people's point of views on basically the same life. I mean, because we all have the same life, right? We're all human, so we know. So we're all having similar situations, feelings, and
I just don't think God makes mistakes.
But to look at it from someone else's eyes can, really change a person's life and perspectives. Consider, and me, and I mean, people have changed it by when I talk to different people. It's like I never looked at it that way, or
there was a time in American history where we sought first to understand rather than to be understood. Now everybody wants to be understood. I don't want to understand Drew. He needs to understand me, right?
Yeah.
He needs to understand where I'm coming from. Instead of seeking first to understand, the world is upside down in America because we seek first to be understood.
Right.
And there's an issue with that. Right? That's bad. It's not good because it's very self-centered, selfish. And this is why now we celebrate our differences more than we celebrate our commonality. Right? One nation under God. What's the next word? Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we've taken that away from a lot.
That whole sentence has been just slaughtered over the years.
Indivisible. We are now very divisible.
Well, and then with liberty and justice for all, I think that statement really doesn't hold a lot of water anymore.
Yeah,
justice for all. I mean, really, liberty.
Again,
right.
That's all I'm saying. Right. Every day we'd start off by reciting that. Right. And pledging an allegiance, and we were together, locked arms. And now all of a sudden it's, wait, you came from, you're an immigrant, and you came from the Middle East, and all of a sudden we have to take the word God out of it because Drew doesn't believe in the Christian God or the Judeo-Christian God.
Right.
So now we've got to take that out. I don't listen. It's just God is God. It's just right. And we're under him, obviously.
One nation,
indivisible. Well, too bad. The melting pot, which we are, means that we are very divided.
Right. And we should celebrate the diversity. We should celebrate the diversity, but a lot of people, the diversity isn't being celebrated. It's actually being, right. Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be diverse, but it's kind of being shunned upon. And Don kind of hits one. He just says, let's understand each other and get back to where it is okay to disagree without one another hate
With
being
one another.
with one another without
Without hate.
hate being attached to that disagreement,
Right.
which is right. Because I mean, so for me, yeah, he kills it. So, and here's the thing, he's 100% right. But the way that our society has been pussified, right, so to speak, when somebody tells you something, you know, or is talking to you about it and you disagree with them, some people take that as a personal attack, being, well, what do you mean you don't agree with me? That's it. They'll take it personally, right? And they turn it into more of a conflict and then more of a learning experience. And I'm guilty of that, because I'll sometimes, when somebody starts criticizing me, right, or disagreeing with what I have to say, there's times that I'll get frustrated and shut down, and I'll have to come back and revisit it. But a lot of times it comes off to the other people as kind of like a, you know, hey, screw you, you know what I mean? And I don't want to do that. I just, sometimes you need to table things and come back at them instead of getting pissed off with people. People want to just
I do it
hammer.
on a lot of shows too. If a question comes up and this throws people, I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know enough about what you're telling me to comment on it. So if you're looking for me to comment, I'm not going to. Let me research this and we can come back to this.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to come back to it.
Right.
Right.
And that's what I love about you, because you won't speak your mind unless you know what's going on.
Right.
You know, and me included, I sometimes I'll get sucked into a conversation, you know, and try to power through it because I disagree with them. I just don't know exactly, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it shoots me in the foot a little bit, but I can at least, I try to keep the dialogue going, because I do enjoy conversations.
Listen, we're on the back end of this. Celebrate diversity. There's something I'd like to talk about too, is the word diversity. And
let's do it next week.
We can visit that next week if you want. Diversity.
That'd be a great topic, because that's important. That's the world. Indivisible, diverse.
That is a bunch of crap as well. That's all that I'm saying.
Diversity is a bunch of crap.
It's a bunch of crap, and we can bring it up in a public setting. We can bring it up in a business setting, whatever the case may be. But we've taken the term diversity to mean something other than what it means. That's all. Right. And we can talk about that next week. But listen, the bridge is coming. We've got a new co-host on the bridge. We have changed the name of the show. Coming up here in a half hour is the bridge. Kelly Vance is going to be co-hosting with Phil Wallace. It's going to be cool, and it's a neat new take on a lot of things. And you want to come back at 9 to check it out. What they're talking about today, just to set the hook, is immigration and illegal immigration.
That's a hot topic.
And I think it's a twist. I think it's a twist that that you haven't heard or talked with. So I highly recommend showing up for the bridge here at 9 with Phil Wallace and Kelly Vance. So for all of us here at 21.6 Net for the grounds, we've got to bounce. But next week, we'll talk about diversity.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you stopping in and visiting with us every Friday. Go have a great weekend. Once again, go out there and be the change you want to see in the world, guys. Love y'all and have a good one. Oh, yeah.